Hey folks, what's happening? Yeah, I'm wearing my homemade robe again that I made myself. It's made out of hemp. 15 years old. Believe it or not, I was meditating earlier. It's very comfortable too, by the way. Breathes nice. Simplicity is divinity. Obviously, this is a Nikon D3. This isn't a FUJI X-T10. I ordered one. It's on the way. I've used one now for 3 times, and I've got a hair over 2 weeks use on the Fujifilm X-T10. And the only thing that's disappointing about the FUJI X-T10 is not the camera, but all these flattest sniffing douchebag YouTube reviews, and they're really pathetic and extremely illogical. You know, after much use, you know, I obviously bought one. No one's given me anything on it. I did get the cheapy kit lens to go with it, not the 18, but the 16 mil to 50. But that doesn't matter. You know, I ordered a Metabones adapter, which I've already used, along with some of my Zeiss lenses on the Fujifilm X-T10 that, you know, I've used a little bit over for 2 weeks now. And that's one thing that pisses me off, and they're extremely illogical. It'd be like somebody making Nikon D7100 reviews and comparing it to the Nikon D810. Now, the Nikon D810 doesn't really do that much more than the Nikon D7100. Yes, it is a 36 megapixel sensor. I mean, I have 2 of them, and I have 2 Nikon D7100s, but all these video reviews on the Fujifilm X-T10 are bogus. I mean, they're BS. The camera is awesome. It is literally the Nikon D7100 of the Fuji world. And every person that's reviewing this new camera is already into Fujis, and so they already have the Fujifilm X-T1. And they're saying, well, it's not as good as the X-T1 in this way. You know, the magnification is not as much, and you know, it doesn't have this little knob on the top, and you know, it's not weather sealed. Well, let me tell you something right now, because I've owned more cameras than God, and there's no camera out there that's weather sealed. The Nikon D3 is unquestionably the toughest digital camera on the face of this earth. There's some Frenchman that froze it in a block of ice and thawed it out and it worked, and he tossed it in the fire for a little bit and it still worked. Of course, it looked like crap afterwards, but no camera is sealed against humidity and cold, because condensation will seep its way into the most expensive, the most weather. I am so sick and pissed that, you know, that all these people say, well, it's not weather sealed like the Fujifilm X-T. Well, who gives a crap? You know, that's what I have insurance for, by the way, but no camera is weather sealed, so that's BS. But, you know, the camera has the price of a Fujifilm X-T10 for a reason. It doesn't have the price tag of a Fujifilm X-T1. The camera is divinely cheap. I mean, it's right now it's on sale for no Fuji isn't sponsored. Nobody's giving me a dime. Let me tell you that right now, because I paid for the one I just ordered out of my own pocket. It's a divine camera. It's basically the cost of a factory refurb D7100. And I did a logical analysis of why I'm buying. Obviously, you know, I've got 9 Nikon DSLRs, and they are not going anywhere. Neither are, you know, my 115 plus lenses for Nikon. But, you know, I got a Metabones adapter. I mean, I'm going to throw that thing in the winter time with winter coming up, which I love to shoot winter scenes. You know, I'm going to throw it in my against my chest inside of my jacket. You know, with like a Zeiss 35mm on it and a Metabones, and you know, be a nice small package. And you know, it's got the same megapixel sensor. Of course, it's a DX sensor, the same megapixel sensor as the $6,000 Nikon D4S. But all these video reviews from Digital Rev and 2 other blokes, they all work from the premise of comparing it to the Fujifilm X-T1, which of course is a lot more expensive, and they complain about weather sealing and magnification of the viewfinder. You know, all this is BS. I found the camera to be excellent. People complain, well, it doesn't shoot as good a video as the phony camera. Well, the phony camera, phony has always, you know, had tight control on good video codecs, and I'm not buying a digital camera for video. I've got 3-chip camcorders for that, so I don't give a damn that any of the Fujifilm cameras don't make excellent video. The camera's awesome, and I weighed all the variables of having this little bitty camera, stacked in my pocket. And I love heavy cameras too, because this is a heavy monster. So I'm not getting old or weak or anything. I mean, I love packing this huge honker around, and they're not going anywhere. And I've said from the beginning, and nobody believed me, I made all these anti-phony videos because the reasons for a lot of this phony nonsense was pure crap. If someone wants to be, a puppet for another company, whoever that may be, and there's several of them, fine. This all reminds me exactly of like Voigtlander and Toshiba. Fuji is like Voigtlander and what Toshiba is now, but mostly what it used to be about 15 and 20 years ago. Toshiba was the underdog, and they were making the best damn quality, and they had to get their name out there above their counterpart, which had a lot more money. But of course, that other company, the huge company now, of course, the stock was downgraded and its credit rating was downgraded to junk status last year. And of course, they've got billions and billions and billions of dollars that they've sunk into their mirrorless system that Fujifilm doesn't have. I mean, they've got plenty of millions, but nowhere near as much as that other company does. And so, that's understandable, but the quality, the build quality is exactly like what Toshiba versus Phony used to be 20 years ago. Toshiba stuff was just made so much better in the Fujifilm compared to the A6000 Phony. Far, far superior build quality. I mean, just unquestionably superior. Does it do as good a video? No. I don't give a damn. I just don't give a damn. Does it autofocus as fast? Well, I don't give a damn about that either, because I'm mostly going to be using it in aperture priority and manual, because you got no autofocus capabilities with that Metabones adapter on there anyway. With the Zeiss lenses that I'm going to be putting, that I have used and will be putting on the FUJI X-T10 that's on the way. I mean, they're manual focus anyway, so I don't give a damn about that either. So I'm going to have an awesome little camera that I've already used for over 2 weeks now. And it's not going to replace anything. I mean, my Nikon stuff isn't going anywhere. Its position in my brain has been there now for over 20 years. But I went through my brain and I figured, hey, I've got 9, Pro Nikon DSLRs. Well, 2 D7100s aren't Pro, but I mean, Pro really doesn't mean jack crap. And I've got a fortune in lenses. I mean, just a huge mountain of lenses, and the FUJI X-T10, after much use and, man, really, really long consideration, I mean, I had to buy it. And the one thing that pisses me off has nothing to do with the camera. It's all these crappy reviews that are really senseless trash. And is the autofocus as fast as, the rival, much more expensive camera, which is made a lot more inferior, too, by the way, the rival camera, Mirrorless. And it's made a lot better. It's not as fast as autofocus, but I don't give a damn about that. Its video is not as good, but the other companies sunk countless years and many, many endless millions of dollars into their video codec. But of course, their cameras are famous now for overheating while filming video. But, I'm not buying it for filming video. And the video on it is what I would call very good. Others compare it to other, much, much more expensive cameras. But, the camera's on sale right now for $700, for God's sakes. And no, I'm not advertising. I'm not getting a nickel from anybody. You think anybody would actually sponsor my fat tattooed ass? That's the only premise of my videos, is that nobody has ever or will ever have their hand up my ass or be yanking my chains on anything. So everything I say is from me only. I'm not getting any free crap, no sponsorship, none of that crap. It's never going to happen. That ain't going to change. But anyway, my FUJI X-T10's on the way. I've already used it now for, I don't know, maybe 15 or 16 days total over well, not 3 different borrow periods, but 2 different borrow periods off an associate, a local associate. And the camera's just friggin' incredible. I mean, it's awesome. It reminds me of Fuji represents everything that Toshiba kind of is today, but what it used to be about 20 years ago. They had to, and a lot of companies are like that. They'll be this huge company, and they have tons of advertising, and they mass produce this crap with slave labor. And they've got their huge name. It's the same thing with Sigma and their stupid... Sigma has got advertising all over the damn place. but their product is inferior. I mean, I was peddling their stuff 20 years ago in the camera stores. It's nearly as inferior today as it used to be. And the same thing is true with the other brand's mirrorless camera. The quality on it's no good. They have no support if you ever need repair. They outsource all of that stuff, so their support is very poor. But the construction on it is poor as well, and the Fuji just beats the piss out of it. And I've been telling you folks I was going to get the FUJI X-T10 now for a couple months. I don't know if you thought I was joking or not, but you know, toss the Zeiss lens on it and head out the door, you know, put it in my jacket pocket, you know, when it's wintertime out, you know. What would be more awesome, like a 35mm Zeiss, which I've already done that, and a Metabones on my FUJI X-T10. You know, I can't do that with my Nikon D3, so that doesn't mean anything. I mean, I want to have, you know, I want to be packing that little thing around. Why does that sound familiar? I think there's some girlfriend that said something like I was packing a little thing around. Serious. But anyway, the camera is awesome. I know I don't have it in my hand right now, but I have used it for over 2 weeks, and I've got one coming, so you'll see video reviews on the FUJI X-T10 here, I don't know, 4 or 5 days, or whenever those knuckleheads that can get it to me up there in Indiana. Not the knuckleheads, different people than what you're thinking of. I'm not talking, it's actually out of Ohio, not Indiana, excuse me. I was thinking of the other people. Those people aren't knuckleheads. That's Robert's camera. Those people are in Indiana, so I'm not referring to them. Those people are awesome, okay? So I don't want anybody to get the wrong impression on that. But anyway, the FUJI X-T10 is awesome, and the one thing that pisses me the most about it is not the camera, is these crappy reviews. And you know, it's ridiculous. It's all these people that have owned the FUJI X-T10, and they're saying, well, yeah, but also it's ridiculous too, because the sensor and the processor in it, the FUJI X-T10 are the exact same thing. They're in the FUJI X-T1, and you know, the buffer is big? No, but I mean it's damn good. The buffer in the D7100 is damn good. I mean, is it proprietary sports or action camera? You know, where you're gonna sit there like a $6,000 D4S, or you know, this used to be $6,000 Nikon D3. And no, I mean, yeah, it'll spit out 8 frames per second, but the buffer will clog up fast. But you know, it's not sold as a, you know, a photojournalistic camera. So you know, these assholes with these crappy YouTube reviews are unrealistic and they lack perspective. And so I'm gonna actually do a real review that's logical with perspective on the Fuji, and mine will be in a few days. Okay, thank you for watching. I hope Captain Fanboy doesn't see this video, because if he does, he'll get really upset. remember the little guy with the tin-foiled hat? Fanboy! Being a phony fanboy. Also, too, one thing that I noticed between Fuji shooters and phony shooters is the difference between these flattest sniffing hippie douchebags and like a well-rounded, logical, normal person. Now, I don't really fall into the arena of normal or logical, but you know, I don't have a little goatee, and I'm not wearing you know, goofy little hats, and you know, to hide the fact that I'm bald or balding. You know, just like normal people. It's like, you know, I love this little mirrorless camera, and you know, everybody else is like, yeah, man. I mean, it's like a different philosophy. It's odd that cameras and these corporate people actually attract a different sort of people. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.